welcome back to Michelle Reads and Vlogs, and in today's video we are going to go through 24 books that I particularly want to get to in 2024. So I've spent a few days thinking about this and I thought, should I start looking at my pre-orders and what's coming out and include those? And I thought, no, that is going to be way too easy because there's going to be loads of new books coming out that I really want to read, and yet I have so many books sitting on my shelves that all the time I look at and I'm like, I want to get to those, but I just don't. I keep prioritizing other things because that's what a priority is, isn't it? You prioritize one thing and read it over something else. So what I have done is chosen 24 books off my current TBR that I already own that I want to read in 2024. So just over half of these are fantasy, just under half are romance, contemporary fiction, literary fiction. I don't know what order I'm even going to go through these, and I haven't even thought about it yet. Maybe we'll do the non-fantasy first and then we'll go on to the fantasy. So if you're just here because you're a fantasy reader, feel free to skip ahead on the video. I also think I'm not going to go through every full synopsis because it's just going to take far too long. There are 24 books here. Even as I was getting them off the shelves, I was like, okay, 10 and then 12. That's 24. And I was like, no, that's 22. That's not 24. 24 books is quite a lot. So the first one is The Road Trip, which is by Beth O'Leary. This is the only Beth O'Leary that I haven't gotten to yet. And I have enjoyed every other one of her books, even the one which I didn't enjoy the most, which was The No Show. I still thought it was good, even though it wasn't like the best of hers. I really liked the Flat Share by her. I really liked The Switch. And this one is just one that I haven't got around to yet. So Addie and her sister are on an epic road trip to a friend's wedding in rural Scotland, but not long after setting off, a car slams into theirs. The driver is none other than Addie's ex, who she hasn't seen. And yeah, there's some other people on the way to this wedding, so it's obviously circumstances have brought them together and they're going to travel together. And yeah, I'm sure it's going to be just as good as her others. Next, we've got Abi Daré, The Girl with the Louding Voice. Now, this has been sitting, along with this one, on my bedside table for probably well over a year at this point. I've been meaning to pick both of these up. And Abi Daré, she wrote this a few years ago and has been a bit kind of quiet on the writing front. She does loads of work like out and about in the community. She's actually pretty local as well. She's from Wolverhampton, which is in the West Midlands. And she's got a new book out this year. I can't remember the name of it. I will pop a image of it in the corner. I'm like, well, if she's got a new book out and I'm excited about that, I really should read her original one. And this is meant to be so good. Inside every girl is a louding voice, a voice to speak up for herself, for the girls who came before her, and for all of those who will follow. So yeah, definitely need to get into this one at some point. Now, this is a bit of a weird one because technically it is like bordering into fantasy, even though I'm sure in bookshops they don't include it in the fantasy section. It is more of like a contemporary fiction. So this is the third book in the Before the Coffee Gets Cold series by Toshikazu Kawaguchi, and this one is called Before Your Memory Fades. So these are short stories based on a cafe in Japan where you can go sit in this one specific chair, be poured a cup of coffee, and you can travel in time, so you can go back to see whatever you want, but it has to be in that cafe, in that chair. You can't leave the chair and you have to return before the coffee gets cold. And I really like these short stories. I did think the first book was better than the second, but I still enjoyed the second. So I'm definitely going to give the third one a go because the fourth one came out, I was about to say last year, because it's the 1st of January today. And yeah, I'm happy to continue with this series. I feel like I'm not going fast enough already. At some point I might just start naming the books. So we've then got The Marriage Portrait by Maggie O'Farrell. So this was one of my ones from the Book Bar Book Club. So I always put the literature inside the books. And this one I've honestly got no idea what it's about. And I've actually got 2 copies of this. I've got a paperback, which I got from Book Bar, and I've already got a hardback. I just forgot to cancel this one because they always announce what it is in advance. And it's happened once before where the book is something that I've already got, I've already read. So you just send them a quick email and they miss you off that month, and that's absolutely fine. So yeah, I've accidentally got 2 copies of it, and I really do want to get into it, but yeah, just has not happened. So this is in the winter of 1561. Lucrezia, it's a name, sorry. Lucrezia, Duchess of Ferrara, is taken on an unexpected visit to a country villa by her husband, Alfonso. As they sit down to dinner, it occurs to her that their journey to this lonely place has a sinister purpose. He intends to kill her. Wow, I did not know that that's what this was about. So yeah, that is good. Looking forward to that one. This one I've not took the sticker off yet, but it's called How to Kill Men and Get Away With It, which is by Katy, Brent. And I've had this one, I think I got it in my Lichfield shopping trip a few months ago that I took you on with me. I've just seen Jamie, is her channel called Jamie's Library? She's from Australia. Is she from Australia? Yeah, I'm pretty sure she's Australian. And this was on her best books of the year, so it just sounds really good. He was following me, that guy from the nightclub wouldn't leave me alone. I hadn't intended to kill him, of course, but I wasn't sorry when I did. And despite the mess I made, I appeared to get away with it. That's where my addiction started. I've got a taste for revenge, and quite frankly, I'm killing it. So definitely on Jamie's suggestion, I'm gonna go in and give that one a read. Then the next one is one that I've actually read the first few pages of. I don't know if anyone ever does this and they stop. It's like, I don't even know why I didn't carry on. I think I started it in the car one day while Ash was getting his hair cut, and I just bought it. So whilst I was waiting for him, I started reading, and then I just didn't continue. But this is Betty by Tiffany McDaniel. And this is born in a bathtub in 1954 to a white mother and a Cherokee father. Betty inhabits a world of poverty and loss, of lush landscapes and blazing stars. And again, a lot of people say how good this is, so I really want to actually get into that one. Next is one of my book of the month books. This is This Smells Love by Kate Robb. Again, I'm not 100% sure. A young woman tries to heal her heartbreak by casting a spell to erase her ex from her past, but wakes up in an alternative reality in which she's lost more than she wished for, in this witty, whimsical friends to lovers debut. Yeah, so really want to get into this one, although I've heard some people say that they didn't enjoy it so much, but I still want to give it a go. We've then got Let Us Descend by Jesmyn Ward, and this is a book that has been very big in the US. Why is that? I can't remember. Did it win a prize? I get a feeling, I can't fully remember, but not so much kind of talked about by UK booktubers, although I did just see, I've watched a lot of booktube recently, I did just see Savage Reads say that he wants to read it this year as well. It's one of the books that he didn't get to last year, and he wants to get into. So, on a slave plantation in the Carolinas, Anis has survived in the light of her mother's resilience, comforted by stories of her African warrior grandmother. Everything she knows she learned from her mother: how to fight, how to be strong, how to grow up in a world shrouded in darkness. And when I'm reading these synopses, by the way, I'm just reading like the first chunk. It's not even the whole synopsis, but yeah, definitely want to get into this one. We have then got a dystopian, which is The Future by Naomi Alderman. I always struggle to talk about this, so it's so much easier just to read the synopsis, although the actual synopsis is huge. When Martha Einkorn fled her father's isolated compound in Oregon, she never expected to find herself working for a powerful social media mogul hell-bent on controlling everything. Now she's surrounded by mega-rich companies designing private weather, predictive analytics, and covert weaponry, while sprouting technological prophecy. Martha may have left a cult, but if the apocalyptic warnings in her father's Fox and Rabbit sermon, once a parable to her, are starting to come true, how much future is actually left? So basically, we are in a world full of technology and advancements, and what's going to happen there? Is it going to be the end of the world? I love an end of the world dystopian. Next is a book that's been out for a year or two. Some of these are very dusty, by the way, which is You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty by Kawaguchi. Emezi. I don't think I've ever tried to say their name before. And this I actually got in is it the Illumicrate sale? Like Afterlight, yeah, Afterlight, and it was like a passed by box. But I'd already seen the book and knew I wanted it. So when I saw this edition, I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna buy it. And it is stunning edition of the book. And this is the opportunity of a lifetime. Faye is about to be given the chance to escape the city's blistering heat for a dream island holiday. Poolside cocktails, beach sunsets, and elaborate meals. And as the sun goes down on her old life, our heroine also might just be ready to open her heart to someone new. The only problem is she's falling for the one man she absolutely can't have. Sounds ominous. So yeah, looking forward to getting into that one. And we've got one more, which is a non-fantasy, and that is The Rabbit Hutch by Tess Gunty. I'm sure Tess Gunty has come out with something new, maybe. I'm sure I heard her name the other day, and I've had this for a while. I just don't know why I haven't reached for it yet. Well, I do. It's time, isn't it? Too much books, not enough time. And yeah, this year I'm going to make the time. I'm going to prioritize the time. I have so many lovely books. I need to read them. What's the point otherwise? So Blandine isn't like the other residents of her building, an online obituary writer, a young woman with a dark secret, a woman waging a solo campaign against rodents, neighbours separated only by the thin walls of a low-cost housing complex in the once bustling industrial centre of Vacaville, Indiana. Welcome to The Rabbit Hutch. So that might be a good one to get into. Haven't really heard much about it, to be honest. So those are the non-fantasy. Let's get into the fantasy. So this one I just received for Christmas. That is Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher. And this one, after years of seeing her sisters suffer at the hands of an abusive prince, Mara, the shy, convent-raised third-born daughter, has finally realised that no one is coming to their rescue. No one except for Mara herself. And this one, again, I've just seen so many people hype it up. I'm gravitating towards it. The next two are interesting because it is two books by V. Schwab that I have not read before, and that is Vicious and Vengeful. And this is because I know she is going to start working on the third book to these, Victorious. She has said so. She said she started outlining it. The plans are there, and I want to read these. These are the only editions that I own. It's 2 paperbacks in a box set. And yeah, as you can see, I've not even opened them yet. So these books need to be read. What V. Schwab says is that not all of her books are written for the same reader. People gravitate and prefer different books depending on who they are and what they like. And I'm just interested because I really like Addie LaRue, obviously. It's one of my favourite books ever. I really like the Shades of Magic series, obviously. So I just want to get into more of hers and see, like the Near Witch I've read, that was okay. I've read the comic Extraordinary, and then that's kind of it. So I need to get into her other work and see if I like that as well. So Vicious and Vengeful. So together, Victor and Eli started out as college roommates, brilliant, arrogant, lonely boys who discover that under the right conditions, someone can develop extraordinary abilities, becomes extraordinary. So I am going to get into those two. Or I'm going to do that. Yeah, stick it there. The next was also one that I got for Christmas, and that is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. And this is definitely a hype buy. It was on my Amazon wish list, and then it was bought for me off my wish list because so many people are reading this right now and a lot of people like it, so I want to see what it's like. And it is a Hunger Games comparison. Let's be honest though, I said this before, but how many books have been compared to the Hunger Games? So many. But let's have a look. So the elites have possessed powers for decades, gifted to them by the plague, while those born ordinary are just that, banished from the kingdom of Ilia and shunned from society. And then I don't need to read the rest here. The girl who's in it is basically normal. So she should have been kind of pushed out of society, but she's kind of pretended that she has these powers and that she's special. And then she's kind of pushed into their kind of like trials, their games, even though she's got no abilities. So let's read that one, that should be good. The next one is Some Desperate Glory by Emily Tesh. And this is a sci-fi. I think it was from Illumicrate. Yeah, Illumicrate exclusive. And in this one, Some Desperate Glory is a thrillingly told science fiction tale about the wreckage of war, the family you find, and who you must become when every choice is stripped from you. This standalone space opera is the highly anticipated debut novel from Emily Tesh. So yeah, science fiction. And the real reason why I really want to read it is because V. Schwab said it's amazing. So I'm going to take her recommendation. Another one that she's just said was really amazing recently was the one which is the Barnes and Noble Book of the Year. Is it called The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store, I think? Which looks, yeah, really good. And she's really enjoyed that. So I might have to pick up that one at some point. Okay, we are getting on. How many have we got left? 3, 6, 8. I know I'm rushing. I know I'm talking really fast because I'm like, books. So this one is The Adventures of Amina al-Sirafi by Shannon Chakraborty. And this one is about a female pirate, a female pirate, I can't say it, a female pirate who has retired. So she's enjoying her retirement when an offer comes along to basically go back out to sea on a mission to take a crew, get her old crew back together to go and to, I can't remember if it's something to do with her daughter or her granddaughter, which is why she has to do it. So yeah, it doesn't say anything in the back. When she's offered a job no bandit could refuse, she jumps at the chance for one final adventure with her old crew that will make her a legend and offers a fortune that will secure her and her family's future forever. And this is meant to be really good and it's stunning. I think this is the Waterstones edition. I think I bought it secondhand. So a lot of my books are actually secondhand. It doesn't bother me, but yeah, really excited to get into that one. Next we have Starling House by Alix E. Harrow, and again I should know all of these synopses. My brain is a sieve. So I'm sure it's a big old house in a town and the girl goes to work there because she wants to earn enough money to get her brother out of the dead end town. But while she's there she has to deal with the caretaker who's the only kind of man from the family who's left behind, and it's all a little bit weird. But she wants the money. I don't even wonder why I opened the book. I did know the synopsis, or my version of the synopsis anyway. The next one is The Unmaking of June Farrow, which is by Adrian Young. And again, isn't this one about a house? Oh no, it's about the women in the family, of course. So in the small mountain town of Jasper, North Carolina, June Farrow is waiting for fate to find her. The Farrow women are known for their thriving flower farm and for the mysterious curse that has plagued their family line. The whole town remembers the madness that led to Susanna Farrow's disappearance, leaving her daughter June to be raised by her grandmother and haunted by rumours. That one sounds good. Obviously they all sound good because I want to read them all. The next is Olivie Blake, Alone with You in the Ether. So I did read Masters of Death. I keep wanting to say this year, last year. That B does not look like it's in the middle. Anyway, beside the point. And Masters of Death was crazy. Even after I finished it, I was like, what did I just read? Every one of her books is meant to be very different, and I've heard that this one is really good. Again, just on recommendations as well, Jack Edwards said that this was a good book that he read from last year. In a Chicago art gallery, two people meet by chance. He is a doctoral student consumed by calculations on time travel, which he uses as a distraction from destructive thoughts. She is a bipolar counterfeit artist undergoing court-ordered psychotherapy. By the end of the story, these things will still be true, but this is not a story about endings. I think it's like meant to be about a relationship, I think. I can't remember. Or it's something to do with those two people, obviously. The next one is The Gilded Crown by Marianne Gordon. He was standing at the head of the bridge, leaning against the wall. The light bowed around him, stooped before him. It made her eyes hurt to look his way. He still wore the heavy winter coat which bled into the darkness, the dark gloves. He was exactly as she remembered him. Do you know why I'm here? She asked. Her voice was high. He laughed, a short, sharp exhalation. exhalation. Yeah, that's right. Exhalation of breath which made her flinch and looked out over the grey fields. She felt her cheeks heat. Do you? She demanded. She didn't like to be laughed at. Yes, he replied slowly, I do. Ooh, that does not tell me anything about the book, but anyway, I'm rushing at this point because I did not want this to be a long video, and that is exactly what it's becoming. We've got 3 left. So we've got The Book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence. All books, no matter their binding, will fall to dust. The stories they carry may last longer. They might outlive the paper, the library, even the language in which they were first written. The greatest story can reach the stars. Again, I don't know why I'm reading the back. It doesn't really tell you much. Evar has lived his whole life trapped within a vast library, older than empires and larger than cities. Livera has spent hers in a tiny settlement out on the dust, where no one goes and nightmares stalk. The world has never noticed them. That's about to change. Yeah, and this is meant to be good, and it was the Lot Library Special Edition. I've just noticed like all of this silver foiling in there. It's so pretty. So pretty. So I need to read that one. 2 more. We have got The Art of Prophecy by Wesley Chu. I did get the sequel to this as well, The Art of Destiny. And you shouldn't really buy sequels if you've not read the first book, but they were special editions and I could not pass it up. It was at the point in time where I had a bit more money. Like if it was right now, the answer would be no, but I had the money and I was like, I'm gonna go for it. So I need to read them. I need to read the first one. So The War Art Saga Book 1. Again, I don't think I need to read the synopsis for this one. We have got a young lad who has been raised being told that he is this prophet. So there was this prophecy to say that he was the one that was going to save them all and be amazing. And it turns out that actually he's not the chosen one. So I think, isn't it like some lady comes along and that sounds really bad, some lady. So someone comes along and she trains him because basically he's been pampered his whole life and he needs to actually know how to fight and how to look after himself. So yeah, they start to help him. So that is The Art of Prophecy. And then the last one, this is one which I have been meaning to read through most of 2022. This book has travelled to another country and not been opened. The other country was Wales, by the way. It wasn't really far away. But that is Babel by R.F. Kuang. And I don't know if it's my big book. What's it called? My big book fear that puts me off this and a few of the others, like The Book That Wouldn't Burn, which is why I'm putting them on this list. How many pages is it? It is, yeah, over 500, so it's not the end of the world. Maybe I'll kind of tab every 100 pages and try and break it down a little bit to try and read it. But it's a strange one because I want to read it, but I haven't wanted to read it enough to pick it up. And I've got 2 copies of it. I'm about to get a 3rd one because we're getting one in the Locked Library book box this month. So I need to read this to see if I actually like it, basically. And this is about, I don't, again, why am I looking at the synopsis? It's about someone who goes to study at, I think it's called Babel. No, I'm going to read the synopsis. I don't want to get this wrong. Oxford, 1836, the city of dreaming spires. It is the centre of all knowledge and progress in the world, and at its heart is Babel, Oxford University's prestigious Royal Institute of Translation, the tower from which all power of the empire flows. Orphaned in Canton and brought to England by a mysterious guardian, Robin Swift thought Babel a paradise, until it becomes a prison. But can a student stand against an empire? Again, I think some people are very pro for this, some people are very against. I need to just read it for myself. I need to get on with it, read it and see what I think. So those are my 24 for 2024. I'm just going to double check that. Yeah, there's 24 books there, which is a lot. It is a lot, but I'm thinking if I can get through a minimum, I say get through as well as if it's a hard thing. It is going to be a challenge, but if I can read a minimum of 2 per month, that's the year. So I think what I'm going to do is maybe make a spreadsheet with these on. So I write them down and then that way I can put them back on my shelves, or else I'm just going to have loads of gaps. So I can shelve them and then take them off as and when I need to. Because the other option is having a stack, and I'm really bad with stacks of books. I've got a stack of books behind this phone tripod of books off my TBRs that weren't read. I've got stacks of books on the windowsill. I've got stacks of books everywhere. So yeah, I think I'm going to reshelve them and yeah, get into them through the year. I also remembered whilst we were here, I was going to think about my Goodreads goals. So Goodreads is obviously reset because it's a new year, and I need to think. I was about to look film on my phone. I can't look on my phone. So this past year in 2023, I read 81 books, and that did include the manga, the 2 Spy Family volumes that I read. It does include audiobooks as well. I do include that as reading, even though it is reading in a different way. It is still consuming books. So this year, what am I going to do? I can either go for 81 and say I need to read a minimum of what I read last year, or I could go a little bit higher. And I do believe in the challenge aspect, but it needs to be reasonable. It needs to be a challenge that can be met, or else there's no point. So if I read 81 last year, I feel like I want to go for 90, even though it's not a very round number. A part of me is like, well, you may as well go for 100, but that's an extra 10 books, and it shouldn't necessarily be about the number of books. I'm a big advocate of this because you could read, let me just like grab these. I could read 4 small books for 1 big book. Yeah, it's probably the same number of pages. I think if you're going for numbers, you know, it's quite easy to pad those numbers out with shorter books, with manga. It's not about the numbers, really. So yeah, okay, that's decision made then. I'm going to go for 90 books. So just more than what I did this past year. Let's do it. So 24 for 2024 here, 90 books on my Goodreads goal, and let's have a great reading year. So as normal, I will put links to all the books mentioned in the video down below. They will be affiliate links. So if you purchase through the link, you don't pay any extra than if you purchased out of the link, but I make a small commission on it, so it helps me and the channel out. Let me know in the comments if there's any books that you are absolutely going to read this year, even if you're doing 2024 and 2024, or even if you've just said, okay, this is 1 or 2 books that I'm definitely going to read. Let me know. Are you going to do that, or are you more of a mood reader? Otherwise, if you liked the video, please remember to like it. Again, that really helps. Subscribe if you want to see more from me, and I will see you all next time. Bye.